Every video and episode of the It's Cavalier podcast is made possible by my supporters over on Patreon. If you enjoy the show here today, consider signing up. You'll get early access, exclusive videos, podcasts, member shoutouts, and more. And as always, thank you for watching. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. DG the PG. The New York Knicks had no answer for this man. They had no answer for this man down the stretch. 6 for 6 in the fourth quarter, looking like the clutch player of the year. And you know what's better? The Cavs just swept the Knicks. Let's fucking go. They just swept the Knicks. I know it's the regular season. I know that this is not the same New York Knicks team as 2 years ago. Hell, it's not even the same team as last year. But Cleveland is on a whole other level. 23-point comeback by these Cavaliers. So much shit that we saw tonight. You know what? I'm not even going to lie to you. I was preparing myself for a potential L, and I would not have been mad about it at all considering the circumstances. No Donovan Mitchell, no DeAndre Hunter, no Ty Jerome, no Sam Merrill. This team, they just came to play, man. Darius Garland came to play. Max Strus came to play. Evan Mobley came to play. Craig Porter Jr. came to play. Dean Wade. All of these guys showed out tonight in some form or fashion, contributed to winning. I was happy with every single damn one of them, especially Darius Garland, who had finished with 26 points and 13 assists on the night. This man was wheeling and dealing out there. He threw some beautiful dimes, one of them being a no-look dime. I think I have queued up over here. Let me see if I can find that clip. Fucking beautiful shit right here. Oh, man, look at that. Oh, video's probably going to get demonetized now just for posting that clip, but it was worth it. Holy hell, DG was just putting in work tonight. And then here's one of his shots. Just pulling up on these bitches. Look at him. Oh, look at the crossover. Right over Jalen Brunson. You just love to see that. Yeah. This dude, man, he was rolling out there. I love that shit. That no-look pass, that was beautiful. DG the PG. And look, I understand overall, like on the night, 10 of 17 from the field, it wasn't beautiful at first. Just 1 of 5 from three-point distance. But even when his shot wasn't going in, you could see the confidence was clearly there. You could see it was there enough to take 6 shots in that fourth quarter. And he made the triple, one of the bigger triples of the game, got to the line at will, and again, was putting his players in positions to succeed all night long. And that is all you can ask for out of a player the caliber of Darius Garland when you're down so many rotation players, down 4 of them, if I'm not mistaken. Again, no Mitchell, no Hunter, no Merrill, no Jerome. None of those guys. Those are 4 big pieces of the Cleveland Cavaliers playoff rotation right there. And look what just happened. If that doesn't tell you that Darius Garland is the clutch player of the year, I don't know what the fuck will, because this man is just doing everything. And as Mr. King 562 eloquently points out in the chat, the lights ain't too bright anymore. Yeah, you're damn right. 4-0. 4-0 this season against the New York Knicks. And I get it. Again, it is just a regular season. But I think a statement was made. A statement was made. And this was, if I am not mistaken, this was the first game that dear old Mitchell Robinson was available against Cleveland all season long. What have I heard New York Knicks bitch about? Their fans in general. And this is no disrespect to the fan base overall. There are some very, very, very friendly Knicks fans. But one of the biggest complaints that I often see from that fan base it's, oh, we didn't have Mitchell Robinson. We didn't have Mitchell Robinson. Look, Mitchell Robinson is not going to solve all of your problems. Not going to solve all the problems, especially against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Not going to happen. Again, this is the first appearance that they had him available. It didn't matter. Frankly, it did not matter at the end of the day when you look at the end result. Now, I would be foolish to say he doesn't impact the game at all. 8 points, 7 rebounds, 5 of the offensive variety. There's his value right there on the offensive glass, generating extra possessions for a New York Knicks team that needs them desperately. And they did outscore Cleveland in that regard, 16-7 in terms of second chance points. Still got beat. He doesn't change everything. And again, no Karl Anthony Towns, but considering there's no Donovan, no Hunter, no Strus, no Sam, no Jerome, I don't care. Do not care. I do not care. 4-0. 4-0 on the season against the New York Knicks. It was a damn good effort in that second half. Again, they were down by 23 points. New York led by 23 points and let Cleveland scratch and claw their way back into it. Game was tied 4 times. The longest run was 9. The lead changed 8 times, but New York still led by 23, as much as 23. Cleveland never led by as many as 6, and they ended up coming out the victor 108-102. Won in so many regards. Points, obviously, you got to do that during the game. Rebounds, 58-48. Assists, 23-22. They turned the ball over 15 fucking times to New York's 8, but they still managed to win. They shot much better. After New York came out sharp shooting out of the gate, 11-14 from three-point distance on their first 14 makes, and then it just went down the hill from there. Overall from the field, New York shot 40.9% to Cleveland's 49.4. Cleveland shot 35.5% from range to New York's 39%. And the free throws, 70% all. Not the biggest fan of the Cavs' attempts at the charity stripe as of late. They shot 21 of 30 collectively tonight, and I felt like they continue to miss and leave points off the board. They left 9 points on the board. New York left 6, but these are points that really typically come back to bite you in the ass. But man, if this game did not convince you of a couple of different things, that specifically Darius Garland's ability to turn it on when he needs to, man, oh man, I don't know what to tell you, because this felt like a playoff atmosphere. Anytime these two teams meet up, anytime these two teams match up, sparks are going to fly, hard fouls are going to be doled out, and the intensity is going to be ratcheted up. They just do not like each other. And they have swept the New York Knicks. A lot of fans are still living in the past, on both sides. A lot of fans will still admit to you that series still bothers them. Bothers me at times, but I've let go of it enough to move on. A lot of people, especially on the New York side of town, hold on to that as if it was the holy grail of series victories. But man, that was a fun one. This is so fun. I don't even think I actually opened the podcast the normal way. So let me just get that out of the way. Let me just say, it doesn't feel right if I don't do it. Welcome to another edition of the It's Cavalier podcast. It's your boy, Mac. As you are already aware of by now, the Cleveland Cavaliers took on the New York Knicks in, what was this, the second to last game of the season? Second to last game of the season, penultimate. And you got some good minutes from the starters, obviously. Darius Garland played 32 minutes and 50 seconds tonight. Jarrett Allen, I thought he would only play maybe half the game. He played 32 minutes and 50 seconds himself. Evan Mobley led the way with 35 and 9 seconds. Pretty good performance for him despite the inefficiency. 14 attempts at the charity stripe. This man was getting to the line anytime that he wanted to. And although he missed 5 freebies, I'll give him a pass because he made up for it in other areas. 16 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, was pretty damn good defensively and showed out when you needed to. Max Strus, 7 of 15 from the field, 5 huge triples, 5 of 12 from three-point distance. That's 41.7% for 19 points. Max had not been having the best go of it as of late, but man, He decided to come out there and step it up with all these guys out. And I could not be happier. I could not be prouder of the performance from multiple Cavaliers tonight. Craig Porter Jr., let's talk about this guy. 25 years old, just his second season in the NBA. He showed you last year that he is ready to contribute at the NBA level and that he can be a rotation capable caliber player, a player, frankly, that I think can contribute in the postseason if called upon. Now, obviously, with Donovan Mitchell, with Darius Garland, with Ty Jerome, Sam Merrill, Max Strus, all of these different guys that can give minutes at the 1 and 2, there just is not any minutes for Craig Porter Jr. to touch the floor when the entire complement of players is healthy. But he continues to show. He did it last time out just yesterday, and today he shows you that he is a very, very capable player. I'm not going to say he starts on more than a few teams, but he is certainly in a rotation, hands down, on a lot of other teams. This team is just so deep that he can't find regular minutes. But when he does play, chances are he's going to give you some level of impact. He's played 15 games this season where he has logged at least 10 minutes. And in those 15 games, he is averaging 8.2 points, 3.2 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and he is shooting 54.5% from the field, including 43.8% from three-point range. The man is simply making an impact. He goes out there, he hustles, he makes sure that he fights for offensive rebounds, and he's just 6'2", mind you. He has given you so much effort out there, so much heart, so much hustle. You need guys like Craig Porter Jr. on your roster. You need it, man. You absolutely need guys like that on your roster that are willing to compete, willing to put their bodies on the line. And for this guy only being his second season, I think that speaks volumes about the Cavaliers' ability to find gems, potential diamonds in the rough, contributors. Just awesome. Frankly, just awesome. And I love the fact that we have him. I know that with this team being so damn stacked, there just isn't a place for him right now. So I totally understand why he isn't getting minutes, but it's always good to know that you are going to get impact generally, even if it's not coming with high efficiency. It's good to know that you're getting some form of positive impact from that of Craig Porter Jr. Isaac motherfucking Okoro. Isaac Ice Okoro. This guy is somebody that I've campaigned for his entire career. He was phenomenal tonight. Absolutely phenomenal. I continue to say his impact is not always felt in the stat sheet. He does so many little things that contribute to winning out there, a lot of them on the defensive end. But when you get nights like tonight where he pours in 15 off the bench, going 6 and 9 in the process, and drilling, best part, all 3 of his 3-point opportunities. Isaac Okoro has nailed 5 triples over the last 2 days. If that's lost on you, he's gone now, if I'm not mistaken, 5 of 9 in the process. That's a pretty damn good percentage over a 2-game span for him. Put 5 rebounds, an assist, and a steal, along with some hellacious defense right along with that. And you'll see just how impactful this man can be against a potential playoff opponent. He has been very, very good over these last 2 games. It's not always going to go the way that I want it to with Isaac from an efficiency standpoint, but when you play him, he gives you impact. And tonight, his 27 minutes and 25 seconds were absolutely needed. Now, for fans such as myself, this is why we think that Isaac deserves a fair amount of a minutes boost come the postseason. And who knows if that'll happen, because it's going to be entirely dependent upon how deep Kenny Atkinson decides to go into the rotation. Because I think most of us believe that it's between Sam and Isaac for that 9th or 10th spot in the rotation come the postseason. But it's entirely dependent on how deep Kenny decides to go, because you got your 5 starters, right? That's basically ironed out. And if it, actually, no, it's not ironed out. It's between Strus and Hunter at the 3, but I choose to believe at this point in time that DeAndre Hunter is likely, based upon what we've seen, is probably going to come off the bench with Max Strus staying in that starting spot. He doesn't get starters minutes. He never really has, outside of when he is called upon to, whenever the Cavaliers have multiple rotation players out. But in a playoff setting, you got your starters probably ironed out in your core 4 plus max. You got DeAndre playing a very high minute role off the bench, and you have Dean Wade is probably your 8th guy, and Ty Jerome is your 7th. And typically what we have seen from Kenny is that he uses Ty and DeAndre is the first 2 off the bench. So those 2 are really interchangeable at the 7th and 8th man spots. But when you're talking about 6th and 7th, when you're talking about the 8th man, that's when you throw out a name like Dean Wade. And then that 9th, 10th man, it's between Sam Merrill and Isaac Okoro. And the thing that I love about Sam is that people consider him just a sharpshooter, right? Just a movement shooter out there, in the same way that a lot of people think that Max Strus is just a sharpshooter, a movement shooter out there. But Sam brings a lot of different things to the equation. He is actually a very good defender of guards. He holds his own most of the time against small forwards. It's just taller ones, taller wings out there, taller small forwards out there that give Sam fits at times, more athletic guys at that position, because Kenny Atkinson has chosen to play Sam primarily at the 3, small forward. And he's gotten away with it because from a statistical standpoint, from a net rating standpoint, it actually looks really, really good on paper. It doesn't always look good on the court, but the one thing you can never take away from Sam is that this man always tries. So he has been an underrated defender this season. He spent a good duration of the season top 10 in defensive rating, for those of you who are unaware. But in the playoffs, things could potentially change. And I think that's when you start to have the conversation between Isaac and Sam and who is impacting the game more. And I don't think it's going to be, Kenny is going to just automatically decide to go to Sam or Isaac. I think it's going to be dependent upon what is needed in specific games, who's playing better, who's impacting the game more, what is needed for a specific possession. Many different things could impact who gets those minutes at the 9th spot in the rotation, because in my opinion 6 through 8 is already solidified. It's some variation of Hunter, Wade, and Jerome in any different combination. Either one of these guys could go in. But I'll say this, I think that you have such a deep roster that this is not a problem to have at all. But tonight belongs to Darius Garland, a man that shall henceforth be known as Madison Square Garland. This man came to play, man. I'm just so fucking happy that we got this is a signature performance. We always hear about players talk about the Garden, about that venue specifically being one of the best places to play at. Just a historic location where you've seen so many different historical performances being put on. And tonight is right up there. Darius Garland finishing with that 26 point, 13 assist double-double. That is about as good as we have seen all season, just from a contextual standpoint. There have obviously been higher statistical outputs from Darius Garland than this in terms of scoring. But man, this is right up there. This is his 2nd highest assist total of the season. If you don't remember, he had 14 assists back against the Los Angeles Lakers on New Year's Eve a couple of months ago. But this is the 2nd highest assist total of the season for Darius Garland. And it is right up there for points, right? He has scored at least 26 points 15 other times this season. So he has scored 26 now, 16 times. And that's just, it's awesome, man. It's been so very awesome to see Darius Garland show up when he needs to. And quite often when Donovan Mitchell misses games, Darius is stepping up, right? He's really, really stepped up with Donovan Mitchell not out there. And I think that you just got to give credit where credit's due, because this has been a season prior to the All-Star break. A lot of people were considering Darius Garland in the conversation for one of the All-NBA teams. And I still think that he very much has a case for that. But post All-Star, Darius Garland, it hadn't been the best from an efficiency standpoint. It just flat out, it hadn't been going well for him from an efficiency standpoint post All-Star break and the appearances that he has had. He's played 23 games since February 20th. That's the first game back from the All-Star break. And over that span of time, including tonight, he is averaging 18.2 points, 6.9 assists, 3.6 rebounds. Now, on the surface, those are very, very good numbers, especially when you consider that Darius is not playing more than 31, 32 minutes a night on average. And during this stretch, it's just 31.7. But the real kicker here, the problem with this is the efficiency. That is where a lot of people have had an issue with Darius post All-Star. It's been 41.3% from the field, including 33.5% from 3-point range. But despite that, the man is averaging a plus 5.4 during that span of time. So he's making impact. It may not always seem like it, but Darius is still adding impact even when he's not been impactful from an efficiency standpoint. And tonight he just went nuts and became Madison Square Garland. I mean, I already played you 2 of the clips here. This shot right here alone was one of my favorites of the game. But look at that, man. Just rising up right over the top of Jalen Brunson to drill that triple. And then you had the dime, the no look here to Isaac Okoro. This is phenomenal stuff. This is clutch player of the year level stuff that you're getting from Darius Garland and his signature performance at one of the biggest locations on the planet in terms of wanting to play there. It's a historical place for a reason. You've seen so many different things occur there. You see LeBron loves to play there. All the stars love to play in Madison Square Garden. But Madison Square Garland decided that he was going to take over tonight. And I could not be happier about the performances that we got from DG the PG. So don't ever speak down on the guy. Now we need to just see him, because this is a perfect tune-up game. I assume that on Sunday, which is the final game of the season, if I'm not mistaken, everybody sits. You play all the youngsters. That includes Luke Travers, guy I really wanted to see over these last 2. Emoni Bates should get a hell of a lot of run, if not start. Chuma, your recent acquisition, you got to continue to play. Craig Porter Jr. and Jalen Tyson out there. All of these guys should be getting major run. Naquan Tomlin, you got to play all of them. You got to give them high minute roles in this final game. Hell, Javonte Green will probably play a hefty amount of minutes, but I do not expect any of the 9 to 10 regulars to play. I expect it to completely be the G League Cavaliers, the Cleveland Charge. I expect it basically to be the Cleveland Charge. That's what it's got to be. That's what it's got to be. And I think that you'll look at the season just overall, because there have been some disappointing losses, but how can you truly be upset about what you have seen from this Cleveland Cavaliers team this season at 64-17 now on this season? They have the opportunity to finish 65-17 come Sunday. And I mean, that is right up there, man. That is right up there in terms of accomplishments. That would be the second most wins. I mean, they already have the second most wins in franchise history at 63 or 64-17, but they have the opportunity to finish 65-17, which that's just phenomenal. That's some good shit right there. Just enjoy it. And I've said it these last couple of games, you have to be able to enjoy the journey. You have to be able to enjoy the process that led you here and the continuance of development that you have gotten from the core 4, right? Donovan Mitchell, maybe not so much, because he was already an established star when he came here. Obviously, that's why they traded for him. But Jarrett Allen, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Isaac Okoro, it goes on and on and on. They've watched them develop. This has been a hell of a journey. That's all I'm trying to say. And I hope you guys have enjoyed it as much as I have. And I think I speak for many of us when I say that this has just been a fun season. Hopefully all of you believe that this has been a fun season. And I want to get out of the mentality of thinking more always about the end result than the journey itself. So you got to be able to take each and every one of these games and and enjoy specific things from it. And tonight, you got one. Even if you did not decide to watch this one in real time, please, if you're watching this post-game stream the day after, if you're watching it tomorrow as of recording this, do yourself a favor and just go back and watch the entirety of this game. I know it's the penultimate game on the season, and for a number one seeded team, there really isn't anything left to play for other than pride and to keep guys fresh and, make sure that they have rhythm, because there's going to be a bit of a layoff between the play-in and the first round. And the Cavaliers still don't know who they're going to face yet. But at the end of the day, this is one that you want to go back and watch. This is one where this was a signature performance, and Darius Garland was one of those guys out there tonight that it was must-see basketball. Darius plays some of the most ethical, some of the most aesthetically pleasing basketball. This whole Cavaliers team does, but Darius Garland in particular plays some of the most aesthetically pleasing basketball out there. He's not out there foul hunting like Trae Young. He's not a grifter. And there's been a conversation around guys like, Joel Embiid and it's SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Trae Young. And there's a number of other players that are really looked down upon for the way in which they draw fouls. And I had Alex Hoops on not long ago, I think about 2 weeks ago. We had a nice discussion about the difference between the way that SGA generally draws fouls and the way that some other people do. And SGA is one of those guys where he leads the NBA in drives. Jalen Brunson is second, by the way, if you didn't know that. But SGA leads the league in total drives per game. And that, to me, is more so anything why his foul calls are up more as opposed to any other player in the NBA. That is why he leads from a statistical standpoint in that category, because he just does it so much. This man literally entering tonight, SGA had 1,544 total drives, and he had knocked down 433 field goals off of said drives, which leads the NBA by over 100. The next closest player in terms of field goals made off of drives is Cade Cunningham. But you know what else? Darius Garland is actually 6th in the entire NBA in drives this season himself. And the one thing about Darius is that he has been very efficient when he decides to drive the basketball. He is shooting 52.8% off of drives this season. And for a player to be able to be that efficient on such a high volume of field goal attempts, right? Or such a high volume of drives. And there's a number of players. There are 9 players who have driven the ball at least 1,000 times. Darius Garland is 4th among those players in terms of field goal percentage. The only players ahead of him are SGA, Jalen Brunson, Tyler Herro, believe it or not, and Darius Garland. That's it. He is just so damn efficient in terms of what he is able to do when he decides to do that. And he's not a guy that draws a lot of contact at the line. He's only attempted 108 free throws off of said drives. He's been very efficient, 101 makes, and that is tops in the league in terms of efficiency, 93.5%. He is when drawing fouls. But he's just so damn efficient, so damn effective. And I'm astounded at the level of efficiency that he brings to the table. And even during this post All-Star game slump that he's had, because he's had performances here and there in these 23 games where he's actually looked very, very good, like tonight. But there have also been many more games where he has just been inefficient from the field overall. And like I said, post All-Star, he's shooting 41.3% from the field, 33.5% from three-point distance. He is still, and that's where the drive numbers really show you something, because when he gets inside that painted area, when he's around the rim, he has still been money. The problem is that he has been inefficient from beyond the arc, from three-point range. Darius Garland just hadn't been able, and that did not, it wasn't great tonight, just 1 of 5, but that triple that you saw, the pull-up over Jalen Brunson, stuff like that is what tends to tends to win you clutch player of the year when you actually step up when it's needed the most. When you're down Donovan, when you're down Ty, when you're down Hunter, when you're down Merrill, and you need your star player, your franchise point guard to step up. That's exactly what it was done. What he has done at the rim this season, and hasn't overall been great. He's in the 47th percentile there, but where he has actually been very, very effective is in the short mid area. Per cleaning the glass, he is in the 96th percentile in field goal percentage on short mid-range looks, which is shots outside of 4 feet, but inside of 14 feet, which is like free throw line distance. Think of it that way. Very, very good is Darius Garland in that regard. He is 156 of 298 in that regard in terms of those shots. There are so many different stats to keep in mind in terms of how players build their shot profiles. And in Darius, he's one of those guys that should be a feared slasher, a feared driver. And I love him. But in this last game, Cavaliers have nothing to play for other than sheer development for the youngsters, for the young prospects. And I hope that they continue to trot out Craig for this last game. I hope that Luke and Emoni and Chuma and Naquan all get a lot of minutes. I truly do. I truly do. But time will tell. I think that's a great place to hop into the chat. So let's see what we got tonight. This chat is always filled to capacity. I appreciate you guys. Freddie B says, Madison Square Garland. Hell yeah, man. Nickname is going to stick after tonight, after sweeping the Knicks. Jeremy Johnson says, my guy DG is the most clutch player in the NBA. And did you see his defense down the stretch? He was putting the clamps on them. Newsflash to everybody else out there outside of my friend here with this comment. Darius Garland has been a pretty solid perimeter defender for a while. He's not elite. He's not great. But I don't think it's a stretch to call him good. I truly don't at all. In terms of perimeter defense, Darius Garland, believe it or not, is actually in the 85th percentile in perimeter isolation defense, registering an A- grade per B-ball index. He's, in terms of screen navigation, he's in the 75th percentile. As an off-ball chaser defense, meaning if you're chasing a player around, if you're changing your assignment around the screen, he's in the 98th percentile. He's not a pickpocket by any means. He's never been a guy that you should fear to steal the ball away from you, like we're seeing from Dyson Daniels, who does that shit like 3-4 times a game. And he's not really big in the passing lanes like Ty Jerome, but he has been good in isolation. The problem with Darius is that he is short and he can be exploited via the mismatch at times. But even when players decide that they're going to switch on him, like we have seen from the Boston Celtics, who love to switch everything, when they switch Jason Tatum onto him or Jaylen Brown, he's actually held up pretty damn well. Jeremy also says, and Mad Max came to it tonight. Yeah, he was out there, man. He was making some plays. He drilled some shots, and Max hasn't been the most efficient over these last couple, but tonight was a good return to form. D Jackson says Garland is a lifesaver in the fourth. Hell yeah, he is. Nicotine says DG making his case for clutch player of the year. He's not favored, but he should be, in my opinion. Luigi's legit 569 said no answer for Garland. Absolutely. Hailstone says let's go, as does Mr. King 562. Noah Heritage says the playoff intensity for such a meaningless game was incredible. And that's what I'm saying. If you decide to take the night off, if you're a Cavaliers fan, I couldn't fault you because there's no Donovan, there's no DeAndre, there's no Ty, there's no Sam. So that's 4 rotation players out. The Cavaliers have already locked up number 1 in the East. So there's really nothing left to play for other than pride and keeping guys in their rhythms. But I highly suggest turn this game on if you did not get to watch it live. Don't just look at the stat sheet. Watch, if you're not going to watch the whole game, watch that fourth quarter, man. Really watch the whole second half, but that fourth quarter in particular was a high point of the season for me, no matter if this is the penultimate game of the season. That was some fun basketball. Tom K says, oh, Cavs weren't just going to let that one slide. DG is clutch. Let's fucking go. Sweep the Knicks. HJ17 Gaming says, poetic to see the Cavs sweep the Knicks after 2022, especially down half the rotation. That, to me, was the most impressive part, right? They entered tonight, and as I began at the top by saying this, I was fully fully going to walk into this one not expecting a loss, but bracing myself for that possibility. And I would not have been mad about it. But to see them defeat the Knicks down 4 rotation regulars, special stuff. Freddie B says Mobley was bullying OG, but they won't talk about it. He absolutely was. Decafam says Knicks, never heard of him. Cypher Podcast Show says these tuning up. They're tuning up for the playoffs. Absolutely, especially Darius Garland. Mr. King 562 says Mitchell better not come back shooting and missing a million threes. I don't think he will. John Jessberger says that was the exact opposite of soft. Absolutely. You love it. The lights were not too bright tonight. Not too bright all season. 4-0 sweep. Dare Evil says he saved us from a -23 and won the game. Just peak DG. Yeah. Man, this is all going to be about Darius Garland, but there are many performances tonight that will go under the radar. Isaac, Max, Evan, Craig Porter Jr. Can't say enough good things about these guys. Jordan React says, also, Mac, why do you think Darius isn't the favorite for clutch player of the year? Do you think it's because he has Don, similar to Evan having Jarrett narrative? That's an interesting conversation. I think that there are other players around the league. When you're talking about the most clutch player, it's such a hard field to narrow down. From a statistical standpoint, DG has been very, very clutch this year. I mean, you look at in terms of total clutch points on this season, the leader as of right now entering tonight is Anthony Edwards with 157 total points in the clutch this year. Darius Garland entered at 8th with 103. But when you're talking about like the field goal percentage, Darius is shooting 53.4% in the clutch, which to me, that speaks volumes about the level of efficiency for one. And it speaks to how he has risen to the moment. He has actually made those shots. It's Anthony Edwards has taken 115 field goal attempts in the clutch this season, and he's only shooting 42.6%. Darius has attempted 58 shots in the clutch, but he's shooting 53.4%. He's 9 of 20 from three-point range. That's 45%. In terms of free throws, he has drilled 32 of 37. That's 86.5. But man, I mean, you look at plus minus in the clutch. That's a category that Darius Garland leads. 85. Total of plus 85 and plus minus in the clutch this season. And mind you, Darius has played 113.3 minutes there, which is not, it's not even in the top 30, but he has been phenomenal. So again, it's very, very hard to judge that because some players are required by definition of what the clutch means, final 5 minutes of the game. It's very, very hard to decide who has been most valuable in that aspect because some players are playing way more minutes because their teams are in closer games than the Cavaliers, who have blown people out left and right or managed to win convincingly. So I think Darius has a very convincing case, but it's just such a hard, finicky award to nail down who has been like the most. If we're being objective, it's hard to nail that down. But performances like tonight, considering the context of the situation, considering who was missing, very, very hard to say Darius doesn't deserve that award, or at least some acknowledgement there. Provided number one says, well, damn, I guess we wasn't mailing in for the rest. Wow, go Cavs. I mean, yeah, I really expected players like Jarrett Allen to sit the entire second half. Lo and behold, he plays 32 minutes, damn near 33 out there. Darius playing 32 in 50 seconds. Evan Mobley pacing the way with 35 in 9 seconds. I expected most of these guys to only play a very specific amount of minutes. Provided number one also says, give this man some likes, folks. Thank you if you do, if you decide to. If you're watching over on X, man, do your boy a favor. Head over to YouTube. Watch it on YouTube. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber to the It's Cavalier podcast. Do your boy a favor. So Cypher Podcast Show says DG's Revenge Tour been just what it is. Awesome. He's been phenomenal, man. This is one of the better turnaround seasons in the NBA. He entered playing 74. He's up to 75 games on the season, which I believe that is actually a career high for him. His previous career high was 69 back during 2022-23. So he has beaten his career high by 6 games now. And I think it's over. That was probably the last we see of DG until the playoffs begin. And if that is the end, I'm happy considering the statistical output, considering the level of play that we've gotten from him, considering the acknowledgments that he deserved. He's gotten it. Phenomenal season from Darius Garland. So could not be any happier in that regard. Get the T says Mitchell was doing good. Mitchell Robinson is he's a quality player for New York. He is always a guy that's going to be impactful because of his ability to generate additional possessions for that team. He's not a guy that you make plays for. He's not a guy that you play in offensive or you play in defensively for if you're the opposition. But you have him on the scouting report purely because he is such an impactful guy on the glass, especially the offensive glass, where he continues to do that. He pulled down 5 offensive rebounds tonight for New York, who had 10 overall. Nobody else on the Cavaliers had as many. Evan Mobley had 4, but Mitchell Robinson is clearly somebody who can hurt you in that regard. And that is why a lot of people come playoffs, when the physicality ratchets up, think that New York is going to be a solid team. I don't think they get past Cleveland if the two play, obviously, but they would be a solid team, or they would be a solid matchup for Cleveland. HJ17 says 22 was the highlight of the decade for the Knicks franchise. Yeah, it's right up there. That series lives rent-free in many people's minds. Many people's minds. And I just wish they could get over it. I truly do. Jeremy Johnson says Kenny wasn't going to play the starters, but they wanted that game, so they came back in just to snatch whatever confidence they had. I love it, man. Frankly, I do. I expected them to rest most of these guys, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. D Jackson says, wait, so you're saying Kenny should play the bench the whole game for Sunday? Yes. I think you play you start off with Craig Porter Jr. starting. You get Luke Travers in there. Maybe you start him. You start Emoni Bates. You play Tristan Thompson. You play Chuma. You play Javonte, you play Jalen Tyson. So, I mean, if you're just looking at the roster right now, you technically can do that. Because let's see here, let's just count them on our fingers, just basic math. CBJ is 1, Jalen Tyson would be 2, Javonte Green, that's 3, Emoni's 4, Chuma 5, Tristan 6, Naquan 7, Luke 8. That is 8 players. If you need to play Isaac, or you need to play Max for a couple of minutes, yeah, but I think between the 8, the youngsters, I think why risk any of the normal rotation players? Let them play the whole game. They haven't gotten to play basically all season, so do it. Go ahead and do it. I'm perfectly fine. Those guys are fine. I know that they have gotten the bulk of the run with the Cleveland Charge, but yeah, go ahead and do it. I'm happy. I'm happy to put them in this position. But, man, overall, this is such a fun game, and I was not expecting to have this type of conversation at the end of this game. The way that it started out, that first half, the second quarter was way better than the first quarter, obviously, but the second half was really when the fun started to happen and where you started to see some signature shots from the likes of Darius Garland. You got to see a rejection from Max Strus that was really, really phenomenal. A highlight reel worthy defensive play out there. You got to see numerous players step up, which you'll love to see that. And the Cavaliers should feel good about this one. The Knicks should feel terrible about this loss. They should feel terrible. It's the same thing that I was saying about Indy yesterday, even in a win. Indy shouldn't feel good about the win that they got. New York should feel terrible about this loss that they just took. Cleveland should feel phenomenal about back-to-back performances. Absolutely love what we saw tonight. As I always tell you guys, if you'd like to reach out to me, you know how you can. It's Cavalier_pod on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and more. If you want to be added to the It's Cavalier Discord chat, you know what to do. Leave a rating, leave a review, send a screenshot of said review to itscavalier53@gmail.com, and I will send you said invite. If you want to support the podcast in a small but helpful way, consider becoming a member over on Patreon. You can do so for as little as $1. Every little bit helps in regards to that. You guys don't know just how much it impacts the content that is created. You get additional episodes. You get additional videos each month. You can listen to the podcast ad-free over there. member shout outs, which I got to get a shout out to Dana Scott, who pledged today $3. That was pretty cool. It's always nice to see that notification pop up on your phone. I say all this to say, if you want to support the podcast, that's the best way to do it. Go Cavs. See you guys on Sunday.